Hello everybody, what's up and welcome. So yesterday I made a video that went over aiming a little bit more, some myths and tips and stuff like that. Go check it out if you haven't already seen it. So today we're going to follow a little bit along that same vein, but we're a little bit different. This is a little bit of a different topic. Today we're going to be going over crosshair placement and map awareness. So something that I see a lot, especially even in the VOD reviews that I do that I put up on the channel, a lot of times I see it, I just don't say anything about it because there are other things to talk about. But if you go around a corner, a lot of people go around the corner like this. Or maybe like this sometimes. Now, I'm going to tell you a secret hack that Blizzard doesn't want you to know about because they can't do anything about it. No one can stop it. It's completely undetectable, and it'll give you an edge. It's a special wall hack. It's called your brain. Because you don't actually need to be looking at someone to see them in your mind's eye. Just like I don't need to be looking at the map to actually know what Numbani looks like because I've played this map enough. So I know that, for example, this goes out to a corner that ends about there. There we go. I also know where people usually stand on Numbani. Normally, someone's not going to be standing over here, right? Someone's not really going to be standing over there. But a lot of times someone might be standing up here, or sometimes there's a Torbjorn or something over here-ish, and almost always there's people standing up there. So because I have my special secret wall hacks on, I can actually see through the wall at a spot that the opponent might be. Maybe there's sometimes Hanzo spam in this corner. So as you come around the corner, instead of being like la da 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 whatever, make sure you're always vigilant, looking through walls with your mind. Where could they be? Where's the next place that an enemy could actually come out from? Well, it's probably that corner where the Hanzos like to peek. So as we come around the corner, go like that. And as we continue around the corner, the next place to look would be down there, right? So we look there, no one's there, look there, and now go. And now we're looking up here. So if our crosshair is locked to where someone could actually be coming out from, which is generally a corner of some sort, corner, 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 as you come around, when you see someone, you just stop right there. No aim required. So this is actually an anti-aiming video. I'm telling you, you shouldn't aim, because you don't have to aim. You just, oh look, your crosshair was already on the guy because you had proper crosshair placement. Now, of course, this includes the obvious bits, like you should be keeping your crosshair at head level all the time. And depending on your reaction time, you want to stick closer to the corner. Now, if you have God tier reaction time, you can put your crosshair right on the corner. The issue with this, though, is that, well, you have barely any time to react, because as we come around here, we see that my cursor is like instantly flew off of the robot. I only had just barely any time to actually react to it. So for most of you, I mean everybody, because no one has reaction time of literally 0 milliseconds, you want to put your crosshair a little bit off, depending on how bad how slow rather your reaction time is. So for me, I usually put it around here in this scenario, so we come around and I easily have time to react to it, even though I have a spaghetti aim. So for those of you kind of newer to FPSs, you might want to stay a little bit further off the corner than I just showed. That way you have even more time to react, and slowly close the gap. So like this would be quite a quick reaction time if we're this close. So if we were doing a Numbani take, for example, and I'm playing Zenyatta or any hero that shoots things, we have our mind wall hacks. Their team probably is set up around here with maybe a support over here, maybe depending on what sort of level you are, there's a Torbjorn or some other junk over here, a Symmetra, stuff like that. So your crosshair, and this is especially super mega ultra important on Zenyatta because he has his charge attack, which is entirely focused on crosshair placement. As you come around the corner, charged up, right? You want to have your crosshair where you can see someone. So as you are coming around the corner, at any time you see someone, oh, there someone is, you can release it. If you have bad crosshair placement with the charge, as you come around, you have to like flick up, which isn't going to work out for you very often, no matter how good of an aim you are. It's just not consistent. And of course, just for regular heroes without charging or anything, as you come around, oh look, there someone is, stop. Come around again. Now the next part to look at is this ledge right there through the wall. See it? It's right there. So as you come around, oh, there's another person. Stop. Over here. Down here. So you're always looking at the place that you predict the enemy will pop out next. Alright, next let's talk about map awareness. How can you be sure that no one's ever going to sneak up behind you and you always know what's going on? Well, in Overwatch there are always multiple entrances, multiple angles that enemies can come from, especially with crazy mobility heroes like Pharah and Genji. So let's take Dorado as an example. Now Dorado has 1, 2, 3 entrances. Kind of up there in the window, kind of over there. And yes, there's some edge cases like a Pharah can do a crazy rocket boost over the roof, but we're not going to worry about edge cases, and that's not something that you should be using to really dictate your play on a game-to-game basis. So if you're on defense, for example, but also offense, whenever you have to deal with looking at 2 different areas or more at once, where do you look at? Do you do this? Do you like the halfway thing so that you're halfway? No, you don't do that. Instead, you use your team. I know that people don't really like trusting or working with their team very much in this game, especially in solo queue, but you really have to. It'll really help you out. Your teammates are there for you. If you use your team to help give map awareness, because remember, there is no map in this game, there is no mini-map, you have to use your ears. If something's happening, you can hear it. Gunshots are loud in this game. You can hear all the crazy stuff going on. So if all 5 people on your team are intently staring down this corridor unblinkingly, then you can be pretty sure that that's covered. We don't need to deal with that. We need to be aware of other places on the map. So one area would obviously be up here. This is a really popular spot to push from, and they can meander around underground to get there without actually being spotted. Another place is back here in this very popular Genji, Pharah, anybody who can get over walls flanking area. So if we're in this scenario and your team is all looking this way, then you can completely not even look at that and know that it's covered. Because if anything happens, I mean, your team aren't a bunch of robots who are frozen in place, hopefully. So they'll do something. They'll react somehow. They'll shoot a gun. Something will happen that you can hear. So you can just completely ignore that and instead focus on this. Now, you don't even have to focus on this part because remember, they'd have to pass through that area to get to this left-hand side. So you can even push up all the way up to here and sort of hold this angle and just stay here. And now you know that this is completely free, this is completely safe, and you'll hear something if they initiate. I mean, ideally, your team would be like, oh, they're initiating, right? But you can't rely on that. Instead, you'll hear an ultimate go off, you'll hear a Reinhardt charging, you'll hear something like that. And in that case, you can go, oh, okay, go back. But other than that, you can hold this angle you don't need to look over here, you don't need to look over here. All that stuff is completely safe, and just focus only on this one area that an enemy could pop out of, the stairs. And notice where I'm placing my crosshair. I'm placing my crosshair so that I can see someone's head poking up out of the stairs. Now, you don't want to put it straight on the corner, like I said before, because my reaction time isn't like a robot. Instead, you want to put it a little bit further up so that you have time to react. All right, so that was good. That was a pretty easy, simple case. But what if it's a little bit more complicated? What if you have a couple people looking over here, a couple people looking over here? So what's like the priority? Who should be looking where? Well, the main entrance should be looked at by the main tank and the main DPS and probably one of the supports. It should have a bunch of focus. This is clearly the focal point of this map. A bunch of people should be focused over here. But you can't ignore these other entrances. The off support, the kind of the passive support that isn't really doing much, like the Mercy or the Lucio or something, who has the luxury of being able to look around, should look at these back flanky kind of corner case spots. And, you know, you don't have to stare at it like that, of course, but if you have your camera like this, you can see a Genji or a Pharah or something going over there. And again, you only need one person to be looking at this, usually the passive support who isn't really doing much, who can afford to just kind of have their camera at weird angles like this, should be looking at the back flanky spot. Every map has these sort of niche back flanky spots that aren't usually used, but when they are, can be devastating if no one looks at it. Usually the secondary DPS or the off tank or a flanker oftentimes is the best choice if you have a flanker on defense, should lurk in this secondary entranceway. So in the case of Dorado, it would be over here. And they can just kind of check around. If it's a Genji, he has the mobility to sort of come down here, poke around, go back, climb up the wall. Just kind of really take this place over, lurk all over this place, make sure that no one is going over here. And then when they initiate, he can use his ears to hear his team initiate, or be engaged on in this case, and come and help. So when it comes to map awareness, always think first, what is your team doing? What is your team looking at? And if you see, okay, well, our team's looking at over there, fine. And also over here is fine, but nobody's looking back here. Even if you are main DPS, where like I said, you should be looking at the front, you should be kind of paranoid about it. You should be knowing, okay, no one on our team is looking back there, so I need to be a little edgy. Like I need to be a little paranoid. Maybe there's a Genji or something coming out from there. And once you learn to use your team, trust your team, and use them as your second set of eyes, you'll have much better map awareness. And again, this game doesn't actually have a mini map, so you don't just automatically, you can't just look and be like, oh yes, I exactly know what's going on, where my teammates can see. But instead you have to use your ears, use sort of your game sense to understand that certain sounds are like stuff's going down type of sounds, like a Reinhardt charge is a good one, pretty much any ultimate, things like that. And if you are on an organized team, you should definitely organize your rules in terms of who's looking where. So in the case of Dorado, you have these 3 main entrances. You should have each player know exactly where they're looking. Be like, okay, player A, B, and C, I want you looking at the main entrance. Mercy, I want you to be kind of lurking in the building, and then make sure you are looking backwards. It's your job to look behind. And then players, D and E, your job is to kind of stay back, look up here. Maybe they're lurkers. They can lurk over here. Maybe it's like a D.Va or a Winston or a Genji combo. I don't know, something like that. They can lurk over here and check out what's going on. So if you are an organized team, you should always have those roles panned out 100%. People should know where they're looking on defense especially. And if you're in solo queue, then you need to take it upon yourself to know kind of where your allies have self-assigned themselves to, and then fill in the gap. Alright guys, so I'm quite excited for a new video series I'm going to be starting on Twitter. I'm going to make it every day, every other day or so, and of course Twitter videos can only be 1 minute long. So they're going to be quick like tidbit things that you can just quickly watch and get something out of. Remember, only a 1 minute format, and I'm going to start with hero abilities. So I'm just going to take one ability from a hero. So let's take today, for example. I'm putting out one about Ana's biotic grenade, and I'm just going to go over it for a minute. How does it work? How should you use it? And not just like, what does the ability literally do? Obviously you know that, but go into how it's used in a competitive sort of sense, how you can use it better, things like that. So I'm going to leave a link to my Twitter in the description and in the card, and you should go check it out. I've had the Twitter account for a while, but I haven't been posting on it just because I've been so busy. But Twitter is quite cool, so I plan on starting to be active on that account starting now. So once again, if you want to check out the new video series or just follow me on Twitter in general, definitely check out the link in the description. But anyway, guys, I think that's just about it for this video. Hope you got something out of it. Hope you learned something, maybe even had a little bit of fun. So stay positive and have a great day. Peace out, guys.